we got some breaking news. AOC won. Unsurprising.
Oh, darn.
And currently, Jamaal Bowman is tracking to win. However, we're looking at only 4% of the votes. That being said, AOC, it has been projected by AP Politics. They're saying that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wins the Democratic nomination for her district, the 14th. The race was called at 9:05 p.m. And the current data we have on AOC's district is 20% of the votes are in. So the margin she's accomplished, I suppose, thus far is indicative of she is not going to be losing. And this is AP data. So then with Rep. Bowman, it's looking pretty good for him right now with AP estimating he's got 79% in the Bronx. He's got 61% in Westchester County, though that's only 381 votes.
Yeah, 4%.
All these people on X that are like, Bowman's out, he's probably going to win. Yeah, so, there
Crazy
you go.
town.
Yeah.
Crazy town.
Well,
That it is.
New York doesn't believe that he did anything wrong. Apparently, you can pull a fire alarm and lie about it, and
They like
they'll
that.
reelect you.
But it's not. But he did something right for them. They saw a guy who was willing to commit a crime on their behalf to steal power.
Right.
And they're like, that's the game today.
Yeah. It's so
look what New York is. Look what they're doing to Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I just wish they would wake up and realize that, like, he's willing to lie to everyone else, so he's willing to lie to you too, right?
Right.
There's nothing there to say that he is doing it for their benefit. He's doing it for his benefit, and
Right.
it benefits him to stay in power, and it benefits him to lie to you if necessary. I think that's one of the challenges, and it happens on the right too, right? It's not like there are just only liars on one side of the aisle, but I think ultimately you are totally right that these congressional positions, who's in the House of Representatives and who's in the Senate makes a huge difference long term. It's in fact more of an investment in the future maybe than
Absolutely.
the president. Not that the presidency isn't important. I was going to ask you if there are, obviously a lot of people talk about Montana as a Senate race. West Virginia has is likely to flip to Republican. Are there any Senate races that you are really interested in right now?
Honestly, I haven't been looking at the Senate races
Busy
too much,
lady.
but I do think that we'll hold on to the House. We have to build up our numbers there. And I do think we'll take back the Senate. But you guys, I mean, I'm just a realist and I'm going to be honest. It wasn't just an election stolen from President Trump in 2020. There were other races that were stolen too. I mean, Georgia lost 2 Senate seats that cycle with, we now have 2 Democrat senators. And Georgia is not, I don't care what anybody says, we're not a purple state and we're not a blue state. We are a red state. And the fact that we have 2 Democrat senators is not acceptable. And then when Herschel ran in 22, that seat was lost. So we've lost 3 Senate seats in Georgia in the past 4 years. And so these seats are so important. I know President Trump gets people out. He's engaging. He's exciting. And yes, we need these people engaged. But if you don't vote in these Senate and congressional races, I think that's what happened in 2018. Trump turned out so many new people in 2016, people that had never been involved. They voted and they thought, we've got President Trump in there. He's going to do gangbusters. And they didn't turn out and vote in 2018. And what happened? We lost the House. And so that's one of the things that I'm focused on is educating people on how important these Senate and congressional races are, because they really, if we elect President Trump again and we don't hold the House already the House has, with Jamie Raskin, he's already written the legislation to not seat Trump. They channeled that at the Supreme Court hearing several months ago at the end of the case over the Colorado trial, when the last justice, the liberal justice, asked their side, what happens if we don't deal with this now? And their counsel said, well, then in January after the election, we'll be back here. And, he channeled everything that they were going to do. And Benny Thompson has written legislation to remove his Secret Service protection if he's convicted. Point is, we have to take back the House or we have to keep the House and build our majority there, and at the same time take back the Senate. I think it's more important than ever because Trump will not be seated if we don't. Yeah.
What made you move? You started off sort of with the Tea Party movement. How did you get more to the America First movement? Was it a natural transition?
Yeah, I mean, so the Tea Party movement was what laid the groundwork for President Trump and the MAGA movement. And I don't think that if we had the Tea Party move, I think it would have been a completely different situation. But we laid the groundwork. People ask me all the time, well, what happened to the Tea Party movement? We're still here. We just morphed into something bigger and better, the MAGA movement, and totally focused on America first. And who can be against America first? Like, that's the question that needs to be asked, right? Because how can you be against America first? So it was just a natural progression. And in 2013, President Trump actually reached out to me. You know how he does, how he writes letters and pulls things out of magazines and whatnot. His admin reached out to me and said, President Trump has something he wants to send you. And it was an article out of Newsmax magazine that talked about taking on the establishment, the GOP. And he wrote, great job, keep up the good work, Donald J. Trump. And so that was in 2013, before he ever ran, and he was paying attention to what we were doing. And so people don't know that, but that inspires me because he's been paying attention for a long time. I truly believe it is America first because he wants what's best for, his family too. And as I've traveled across the country talking to men and women about why they support President Trump, the number one reason that I hear is because he fights for me like he would fight for his own family, and he doesn't tuck tail and run. And the second thing is promises made, promises kept. For so long, we've had Republicans, that are afraid of their own shadow and will cave to anything, and he doesn't do it. He fights back. He goes on offense, and that's what the American people want to see.
Yeah.
Big news. Bowman's now losing. 60% of George Latimer's now got 60% of the vote in the primary. Bowman may be booted. I don't think he's gonna be able to turn around Westchester County.
How much is reporting right
Westchester?
now?
25.
25. That's
Westchester-
significant.
A lot of money in
Westchester just
Westchester.
flipped.
So
Lot of
where's
money in
AOC
Westchester.
tonight? That's the question. Because
She's already won.
She skipped his party.
Yes, she did, didn't she?
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was reported that Bowman invited her to his watch party, I guess.
Yeah.
She bounced. I don't know much about it.
Yeah, her schedule was still in the works, I think is what they said.
Weird.
Yeah.
Well, if he's going to lose, it's not really all that great for her to be there, especially if she's won. It wouldn't surprise me that he loses Westchester. He is against the consolidation of wealth, and the consolidation of wealth is in Westchester.
And he really does not like Israel.
Well, and there's probably a lot of Jewish people in there too. Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, so
it was funny on Fox this morning. They had a Jewish guy who's a Democrat asking about these protests and these riots at the synagogue where a bunch of Jewish people got attacked. And
In LA this past week.
yeah, and he's like, Biden's not going to arrest any of these people. This is a hate crime. I don't understand. And then like, who are you voting for? And he's like, well, Biden's let us down, so
Decision Desk HQ is projecting that Lauren Boebert wins her Republican primary for U.S. House in Colorado's 4th congressional district.
I'm not surprised by that.
Districts.
I thought she was
switched?
vulnerable.
Yeah, she switched.
She was vulnerable. And
Oh wow, she won it very handily too.
Yeah.
right, but this is the Republican primary. I mean, she's a superstar in the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Whether she wins the general, that'll be we'll see that.
Sure.
And that's why I think the result of the Colorado primary is so interesting. Like, who is the Democrat that's going to be her counterpart going forward?
Right.
What is it a moderate Democrat from this area who's saying like, I have these values, but I'm also sympathetic to these causes, or is it going to be Lauren Boebert versus a far left? A far left selection from the Democratic Party. It seems we have to know what Colorado's becoming.
Well, that's the seat that was held by Ken Buck. And so, Ken Buck was Tea Party.
Right, but he vacated early,
Yes.
right?
Yes. So I hope she can hold on to it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
And then what are they saying for her district that she left? She was in Colorado.
She's
was
Colorado
in 4.
5, right? And now she's in 4.
Yeah.
It could be. Again,
Was she 5?
I think she's in 4 now, and she was in 5 before.
She moved because
And she
almost lost by a couple hundred votes.
a couple hundred. It was very
Yes,
very
it was
narrow,
very close.
Which means that probably Colorado 5 is going to shift to be more. I mean, it's just interesting because
That's a
again,
lost seat,
people
then.
think of Colorado as. I mean, historically it was a red state, but it is changing.
But I also wonder, yes, it is. But I also wonder in that seat when we were talking about how the anti-Trump vote, the anti-Trump election, because Lauren Boebert is out there and is so polarizing and so, front and center in your face and what she believes and whatnot. And maybe getting somebody else in there that's not so polarizing, they can hold it as a Republican.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll see. I'm still waiting on these results. We'll see what comes in, but it's looking like Bowman's going to lose. That'll be hilarious.
Wow.
But we'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
What do you think he'll blame his loss on? Do you think it's going to be the environment Israel? I was going to say racism, extremists.
I'm actually surprised he's losing, to be completely honest. I'm not convinced he will lose. We don't know. Yeah. We're still Bronx County. It's a very small geographic area with a lot of voters, and we've only got about 5,000 of the votes in. We will see how many actually end up turning out in Bronx County, because this might be it. I mean, what do we expect? 50,000 people, maybe 30,000 people.
I have no idea what kind of turnout it's.
What was it like in Texas? There was like 60,000 in that one district. So we'll see. We'll see. Man, this is I don't know. AOC's won. That one's kind of obvious. Look at this. She just handily won.
Yeah.
40% of the votes are in, and she's just dominating. And it's, the thing is, I think Mike Cernovich had a good tweet about this. He's like, all these goobers who keep saying voting doesn't work, and they comment and say things like, y'all are still voting, huh? And they don't vote in primaries.
Yeah, it's infuriating when people say things like, oh, we can't fix this, when they've literally done nothing but complained about it on the internet. Like,
that's the most important vote you can cast in election cycles, the primary.
Absolutely. I not only the primary, but also they don't vote in their midterms, so they don't vote for who's affecting their lives the most, which are the people that are closest to them. If you're not voting in your state elections and you're not voting for your local elections, if you're just letting those go by without voting, then you don't actually put any effort into affecting the outcome that has it has the most proximity or the closest proximity to you. And that's the stuff that matters in your day-to-day life, right? Your life is...
Yep.
I think Jordan Peterson said something like, your life is what it's like when you come home, because you do it every day, all the time. It's not like the one time you went on vacation to this great spot or whatever. It's the things you do daily. And the things that you do daily are most affected by the people that are in your local government. So your local government, then your state government. People vote for the president thinking that, oh, if I vote for the president, there's going to be this king that's going to come in and he's just going to pass all these laws. They're going to make me able to fly and fill my bank account with money. And that's idiocy. That is absolute idiocy. And that's not how anything works.
It's kind of crazy how the whole system works. And it's a club. It's rigged, blah, blah, blah.
And we're not in it, just if you didn't know.
Oh, for sure. But what did Bowman do to get the boot? You know what I mean?
He pissed off
Pelosi?
He pissed off the mainstream Democrats about Israel.
Yeah.
With the whole Gaza thing. I mean, he's considered part of the squad. And
his rally footage in the Bronx, he went off on Israel and AIPAC and that whole narrative. And I think there's a problem with that.
Yeah,
I think you're allowed to criticize Israel all you want. Criticize AIPAC, please do so. The issue is regular people in the Bronx don't care.
Right.
And so he hitched his wagon to that narrative. And it turns out most of them are just like, I don't care, whatever that is you're talking about. I'm be willing to bet a lot of people actually do support Israel, but I don't think that's the key issue for them.
No.
Right.
The average... Look, I really think the average American is like, well, yeah, Israel's a democracy, so they're our allies and we support them. And that's the extent of what they put the thought into it. They don't think anything beyond that. They don't think, oh, Israel's doing these things, and that means they're dragging us into wars. They don't think the amount of money that we spend on Israel is so expensive, because they look at the actual national debt and they look at the money that we spend on overall just the military spending overall. They look at what we spend every year on just servicing the debt. I mean, the debt is the most important topic that we have to worry about right now. And it's ridiculous that we don't. At a time when we should be supporting pro-family policies and taking the government positions to support families, we continuously fail to support the important things. Families, men, boys, all these things that are destroying our society. we're not doing a thing about. And we get entirely wrapped up in things that totally don't matter to the average person, like whether or not Israel's fighting in Gaza. It doesn't affect America. It doesn't affect Americans on in their daily lives either.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.